Hi, my name's Naina and I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner. Today I'm going to be talking about female health and particularly the Nari Sondarya Malt by Amrutam. Nowadays, a lot of us women are experiencing hormone imbalances in one way or another. We're suffering from premenstrual syndrome, also known as PMS, PCOS, endometriosis, dysmenorrhea, infertility, the list goes on. Signs and symptoms of hormonal imbalances might be things like painful periods, missed periods, irregular periods, too many periods, heavy periods, excess hair growth, dandruff, weight gain, and acne breakouts. So I know how distressing hormonal imbalances can be and super frustrating too. So it wasn't until I came across the amazing science of Ayurveda that I finally found a way to understand what's happening to my body, which then empowered me to make a change to rectify it. So I hope this knowledge also helps you, because I'm going to share my understanding of how Ayurveda can help you and also how this particular malt can too. So Ayurveda teaches us that the hormonal system is intricately linked to our mental health, our diet and our lifestyle. So in light of the increased hormonal imbalances we are now seeing in this day and age, we have to ask ourselves what's going wrong. We have to look at three key areas in our life: our emotional health, our physical health and our spiritual health. First, let us talk about emotional health. We all might notice that we can get a little bit off at that time of our period or during menopause. This is because the female cycle is linked to the lunar cycle of the moon. So as the moon changes face, so do we. A little bit of emotion is fine, but when it starts to disrupt our relationships and our general day-to-day activities, this is when we have to look at it a bit more closely. You might have heard of the chakra system. The chakra system is basically energy centres along the central part of our body, and they play an important role in managing how energy flows within our body, which can indirectly affect our emotions and our actions. The energy flowing through your chakra system will have an indirect effect on the organs of that area of the body where it's placed. It also affects the secretion of hormones from endocrine glands that are situated in the same areas of these chakras. The three key chakras that are important in female health are the Manipura, Swadisthana and the Ajna. You can help to balance out the energy flowing through these chakras with things like yoga asana or chanting mantra. The energy flowing in these particular chakras could be disturbed by not living a life that you feel is true to you, and perhaps being more ruled by the emotions and the thoughts of your mind. Emotions such as fear, desire, insecurity are among the many that can arise when there's disturbances in these particular chakras. The role of a woman has changed in our day and age. We're working more and we're living more in a masculine-dominated society. This can add strain to our emotional health, perhaps deviate from our innate nurturing qualities. So before I go into female health on a more practical level, I want us to keep this in mind, that ultimately if we don't follow a lifestyle that's true to us and we're living from a place of truth, and we need to look at our lives and ask ourselves a bigger question: am I really happy? Am I serving? Am I loving myself? These kind of questions can get you thinking about implementing change from a much deeper level, which can support your physical, practical changes. Ayurveda does have herbs that also work on a mental level too, so Brahmi is one of the key ones, and you can find Brahmi in the Nari Sondarya Malt. Let's now look at physical health, the easier part to change. So how does Ayurveda treat hormone imbalances? Basically, it does this by four methods. Firstly, it balances the Apana Vayu. Secondly, it reduces the Pitta. Thirdly, it scrapes excess Kapha. And fourthly, it reduces Ama. So Ama and Kapha are kind of similar. So the Apana Vayu, or the Apana Vata, is basically the downward moving force in the body that governs things like elimination, childbirth, menstrual flow. So anything downward moving is regulated by Apana. So if this flow of energy is disturbed, which happens through wrong diet and lifestyle and also too much thinking, then obviously everything in that area is going to be disturbed. And what's in that area are female reproductive organs. So if you can imagine, if there's a disruption of flow, the disruption of flow is going to be there with our hormones too. So Ayurveda balances this out by taking particular herbs. Also following a good routine can help to keep that in balance. And also oil massage with Abhyanga helps to keep Vata in balance in general, which will in turn have an effect on Apana. Nari Sondarya Malt contains something called Dartree, which helps to regulate the Apana Vayu. It also has Dashmal, which is again very good for balancing out Vata, and also helps in reducing inflammation. So Pitta reduction is done through ingesting particular herbs. So Pitta dosha is basically any kind of heat in the body, and links into painful inflammatory conditions, and also this is the one responsible for the pimple outbreaks too. So when there's too much heat in the body, it basically creates a very unfavourable environment for your reproductive organs because they prefer a more cool and moist environment to be in. The particular herbs that Ayurveda is very good at reducing this excess pitta or pacifying it is something like shatavari, which is again found in the Nari Sondarya Malt, alongside gokru, lodra and ashoka. Excuse my pronunciation of these, by the way. So you can find all of these ingredients in the malt. So thirdly, Ayurveda treats hormone imbalances by scraping off the excess build-up of Kapha in the system. So Kapha dosha is the element of earth and water, and when it becomes too much, it basically causes like a clogging sensation in the body and the clogging of the system. So this can show in symptoms of excess mucus. This is where the weight gain comes in. This is where the cysts form on the ovaries. This is where dandruff can form. Excess hair growth is there. This is all because basically there's a build-up of kapha in the body alongside this added pitta dosha, which is increased, and alongside the vata movement, which is obviously disrupted. So all the three doshas, this is how they're working together and create the hormone imbalance. So the fourth thing Ayurveda will do is to reduce the ama in the body and stimulate the digestion. So ama is basically toxin, and it's formed when the food in our body is not completely digested. So when this builds up too much, it aggravates any dosha that's out of balance already. When there's excess ama in the system, it's like you don't have a good appetite, you feel really fatigued, like your mind's super cloudy, you can't make decisions correctly, you're generally feeling really lethargic all of the time. So a lot of us girls, what we'll do is we'll end up going to the doctors and saying, oh, I feel really weak around the time of my cycle, I feel super tired, I'm getting these acne breakouts, my lower back might be hurting. All of these symptoms, they can be attributed to one of these doshas going off balance. And then on the top of that, you've got the ama and your digestion out of balance, which makes the whole thing worse anyway. So rather than just taking a tablet to balance it, Ayurveda looks to reduce these things down and pacify them. So it gets to the root cause of the disorder. And the beautiful thing is that in the treatment of it, you end up changing your lifestyle, which allows you to create a sustainable change for your health. So Ayurveda treats kapha imbalance with hormone imbalances by adding herbs that have a Lekhana effect, which is like scraping quality. So they scrape the excess kapha from the channels and eliminate it from the body. So the Nari Sondarya Malt has ingredients that does this, and it also has licorice in there too, which doesn't necessarily scrape, but it liquefies the excess kapha so that it can be expelled more easily. So the medicine that you'll take in Ayurveda for treating hormone imbalances, and also this one too in the malt, basically dislodges ama from the system, so it allows things to move more freely in the channels, which will balance out all those doshas. You can see the interplay of what's going on now. The Nari Sondarya Malt contains ingredients that pacify all of the doshas. Now let's talk a little bit about diet, because it's actually super important when we're balancing out female health disorders. Firstly, it's important to look after something called Agni. So Agni is a transformative energy of the body, and there's a particular one that works specifically on the digestion. So looking after your Agni involves making sure that you eat regular meals, 2 or 3 times a day, avoiding snacking, eating the correct foods, and eating in the correct way. So try to eat one of your meals eating in silence at least once a day, because it is really good to bring that awareness to your eating. And be aware not to overeat. Also, it's important to ask yourself if you're actually hungry or if you're eating from habit. So a nice little tip for keeping your Agni nice and strong is to sip on hot water throughout the day. So to help in female hormone imbalance, it's important that we look out for Kapha and Ama provoking food. So avoid things like lots of white bread, pasta, pastries, sweets and dense and heavy foods, especially if your digestion is not very strong. Like aubergine, cheese and mushrooms. These are things that they're like heavy and sticky and armour forming, so it's good to try to avoid them. Looking to reduce Pitta type foods can also help, so reducing things like chilli, lemon, vinegars, wine, caffeine, so no coffee, and tomato. So definitely favour things like green mung dal, green vegetables, cooked fruits, coconut, and soups that are easy and light to digest. So doing some kind of exercise is very good for hormonal imbalance too, because it improves the flow of vata, it helps to get rid of excess pitta through the sweat, and it also reduces kapha. So add in some kind of fun movement to your day, so that could be a yoga practice or perhaps like a quick run around the park. So the Nari Sondarya Malt is an amazing addition to supporting you on your journey to balancing out your hormones and also treating yourself for just a health and beauty supplement in general. Remember, the malts aren't only just to treat disorders, but also to prevent the onset of them. So you can take this malt at any stage right now just to improve your overall health. So you take the malt twice a day on an empty stomach, and you have to take it with the right vehicle. So if you don't know which vehicle to take, you can refer back to the video about what is an Ayurvedic malt, where I'm talking about which vehicle might be good for you. Nowadays, I know it's really difficult to keep up with these lifestyle and diet changes. Trust me, I know, I went through a lot of hormonal imbalances myself. But when I did implement these changes or recommendations through Ayurveda, I really saw a clear difference. So this stuff really does work, and once you take that initial step, you'll see the benefit, so you're more likely to stick to it. We know why we should eat better, we should exercise, we should do this, we should do that. So why do we find it so difficult? What's stopping us from making these changes? My answer to this is the third aspect that I've not spoken about yet, that I mentioned at the beginning, is the spiritual aspect of ourselves. Looking after our body is a service to the world and everyone around you. When we understand this, we gain a motivation to start bettering ourselves. So this body, it is a vehicle of service. And once we find joy and contentment in that, we naturally become more conscious of our actions, including anything to do with our health. So ladies, our period cycles or anything to do with our hormones can be viewed as a process of transformation, of cleansing the body, of growth. So it's really important during this time to really take some time to relax, to reflect, and to align yourself with the truth of who you are. Try to avoid too much strenuous activity, lots of tight clothing, and it's nice to do something to express your creative side. Sing, dance, paint, whatever you prefer. So each cycle is an opportunity to grow and transform yourself. So in your next cycle, take time to look at your values and realign and check in where you are. So remember ladies, you're all bold, you're all beautiful, and you're all free. So if you have any questions about female health or the Nari Sondarya Malt, you can pop along to the Amrutam page and they'd be happy to answer any questions. You can write them an email. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel and look out for the next video where I'm going to be talking about Kuntal Care Hair Spa and the benefits it brings so that you can have lovely, beautiful hair. Bye for now.